Good afternoon. This is Flagler County Sheriff Rick Staly. Late last month, myself, 4 other Florida sheriffs, and a police chief joined Florida Congresswoman Kat Cammack on a fact-finding mission to Ground Zero along the Texas-Mexico southern border in McAllen, Texas, and other border towns such as Roma, Texas. And this is my update to the community on why what is happening at the border makes Flagler County and every town, city, and county in America a border town. This area is referred to as Ground Zero for human and drug smuggling in America and is known by Customs and Border Patrol, or CBP, as the Rio Grande Valley sector. This is also where 43% of all narcotics are seized by CBP, and they believe they only seize 20% of the narcotics actually being smuggled into America by Mexican cartels. I know what you're thinking, but the Texas border is more than 1,300 miles away. How can it possibly affect us here? Well, I'm sorry to tell you, but what happens at the border does not stay at the border. Based on intelligence reports, we know that deadly fentanyl, heroin, methamphetamine invading Flagler County and other communities across the nation is coming from Mexico. Recently, the Marion County Sheriff's Office in Ocala, Florida, seized over a dozen bricks of heroin and fentanyl stamped with markings from a Mexican drug cartel. Ocala is less than 2 hours from Flagler County. What happens at the border impacts every community in America with drug addiction, overdoses, and deaths. Strains our community social services, health and education systems, law enforcement, court systems, county jails, state prisons, and crime rates. So far this year alone, ICE and the Department of Homeland Security investigations have seized over 130,000 pounds of methamphetamine, and estimate by the end of the year they will seize over 200,000 pounds. This is not a Republican, Democratic, or independent issue. It is an American crisis, and the border is coming to you whether you like it or not. During my time at the border, we were boots on the ground for over 28 hours. In that time, we toured the border wall near McAllen, Texas. When you think of a border wall, you expect it to be on the actual border, but that is not the case. The border wall was actually miles inland from the Rio Grande River. So when illegal immigrants turn themselves in, they are already deep on American soil. The first night we saw hundreds of illegal immigrants waiting at the border in the darkness. They congregate at the gate because they know Customs and Border Patrol will let them in to begin the immigration process with a court hearing scheduled, listen to this, 3 to 5 years from now. CBP actually helps them find the access points by placing signs with arrows. That night, more than 100 illegal immigrants entered America just from this one location. We left the wall at 12:30 a.m. We were told this cycle repeats itself every night at various areas along the Texas border, and probably Arizona and California too. The next day, we joined the Texas Department of Public Safety, known as DPS, and the Texas Highway Patrol on a patrol boat on the Rio Grande River. To understand just how dangerous it is to patrol the Rio Grande River because of the Mexican cartels smuggling drugs, each DPS boat is equipped with 5 .50 caliber machine guns and heavy armor. As we left the docks, we observed scouts for the drug cartels, letting the cartels know that DPS was on patrol. We also noticed beautiful mansions on the Mexican side of the Rio Grande that, according to DPS, are owned by the cartels. We then went to a border farm on the Rio Grande River and met the farmers that have farmed this land for generations, just like we have in Flagler. We learned from them how illegal immigrants cut down their fences, trespass on their property, and how they occasionally find a dead person on their land. How their farms are destroyed when a human trafficker flees from police crashing through their crops, and then illegals run through their crops to escape apprehension. On our way to the farm, we saw stacks and stacks of border wall purchased by the federal government just sitting and rusting. We were told the federal government stopped the construction but could not stop the payments. So contractors are being paid millions and millions of dollars to do nothing. Your American tax dollars not at work. Additionally, we joined a patrol outside of McAllen, Texas, and then to Roma, Texas, ground zero for human trafficking. We were informed by DPS that cartels are making $6,000 per person, or a discounted rate of $12,000 for a family of three. CBP apprehends 3,000 people per day, which means that Mexican cartels are making as much as $18 million a day through human trafficking. Cartels use wristbands of different colors, indicating which cartel the immigrants paid for safe passage. The American side of the Rio Grande River are littered with these bands. If you can't pay, you work off your costs by working in slave labor shops, in the sex trade, or smuggling drugs into the United States. Passage to America is not safe without a wristband. There is no deterrent for human traffickers on the border. At an area known as the boat ramp in Roma, Texas, we could see the town of Ciudad McAllen in Mexico, an official border crossing nearby, and smugglers and their clients lining up on the Mexican side of the river to be brought to American soil. It was here we witnessed the human smugglers, or coyotes, walk across the Rio Grande pulling a raft filled with 8 to 10 migrants, mostly women and children, bringing them to America in plain view of National Guard troops, DPS, and CBP. They would drop them off and return to Mexico to fill another raft. They had no fear of arrest because, as officials told us, if they tried to arrest them, the coyotes dumped the raft over, and now CBP and National Guard are conducting a rescue mission. Often this is done to divert or distract CBP and the National Guard so drug smuggling, MS-13 gang members, or other criminals or previously deported individuals can cross to America further upstream or downstream. We witnessed one coyote that would purposely bring his raft to a rocky area while talking on a cell phone to divert authorities. This is the same coyote that boldly told the National Guard that on his next trip over, he was bringing a 2-month-old infant, and if they tried to arrest him, he would throw the infant in the river. At this one location called the boat ramp, 180 illegals turned themselves in to the National Guard and CBP. They are taken by a CBP bus to a temporary outdoor processing site. Once CBP is done, they turn them over to the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, which then turns them over to a non-governmental organization, or NGO. The NGOs then buy them a bus or airline ticket, give them some cash, and send them on their way across America with a notice to appear in court. We were told to look for brown envelopes when we got to the airport, as many of the illegal immigrants we saw crossing the border would be on our plane. CBP was right. There were hundreds of brown envelopes at the airport. Vans were dropping them off in front of the airport, and then they went to a special access line where no photo identification was needed, and then boarded planes, including ours, to a destination near you. As an American citizen, try boarding a plane without ID. You can't, but they could. And we, the taxpayers, are paying for this because the NGOs, such as Catholic Charities and Methodist Children's Homes, request reimbursement for their costs through FEMA, or the Federal Emergency Management Agency. However, this is not my biggest concern with illegal immigration. The people that cross the border and turn themselves in are just looking for a better life for themselves and their families. And who could blame them? We are the greatest nation on earth with the most opportunity. Obviously, I wish they would enter legally, but our broken immigration system has caused this crisis. These illegal aliens have come from over 140 countries just this year. This is not just the Southern Triangle problem or Mexico's. My biggest concern is the more than 200,000 gotaways that are in this country. On July 13th alone, there were 204 of them. What is a gotaway, you ask? Gotaways are individuals, illegal immigrants, that don't want to be detected by CBP or DPS or the National Guard. They are the criminal element, such as MS-13 gang members, one of the most vicious gangs in the world, drug mules, fugitive criminals, and those that are trying to return again after being deported before or committing crimes in America. These are the most dangerous illegal immigrants. They have been spotted by CBP detection devices but couldn't be caught. We know they are in our country, but who are they and where did they go? This is a problem of epic proportions, and the border is coming to a town near you. It is time that our elected representatives on both sides of the aisle fix the broken immigration policy and the real crisis at the border. As it stands today, we have no functional or secure border, and is putting every American in the United States at risk. A country without a border is not a country.